We're gonna review the the tournament I played in this weekend, even though I really don't want to. But we have to do it. So I owe it to people. So, hi, welcome to my review of my recent tournament, the Tri-Valley Chess Tournament of July 2024. It was held in Pleasanton, California, at a mathnasium. And it was definitely the worst chess that I've played in at least 3 months. I was really disappointed. That being said, there were some reasons for it, and I will give them without trying to be super. I don't want to sound like I'm making a lot of excuses, but there were reasons for why it didn't go so well. Those excuses are, first of all, this was a chess tournament that I normally wouldn't have played in, but it was one where adults and kids could play at the same time. My daughter's been really wanting to play in a tournament, and she's been wanting to play with me in a tournament. So she went to a tournament. She's 5. Anytime she wants to play in a tournament, I support that. I'm shocked that she wants to go play, given that she's always by far the youngest. The next youngest kid was in 3rd grade. And she was playing 3rd graders through 8th graders. So, I can't not support that. But that in itself is a huge distraction for me because I get really stressed for my daughter. I don't care so much about myself, but when Willow is playing chess, I get so nervous for her because I want her to do well, and I know she likes to win, and I know she's a fighter, and she doesn't like to lose. So, that being said, I was a little stressed. The other thing was it was at a mathnasium, so it was a very small venue with a lot of people crammed together. Like literally, our elbows were hitting each other the whole time, which was super shitty. That is very hard for concentration. It was also really hot in there. It was like 100 degrees outside, and the air conditioner barely worked. So it was like 85 inside that building, and it felt warmer than that because there was people all around you. And that was also very difficult to deal with. It also smelled like trash in there. I don't know why it smelled like trash, but it did. And then finally, the time controls were G30 with a delay of 5 seconds. So much shorter than my previous over-the-board tournaments. I've not played a single tournament with less than G90 with an increment of 30. 30 seconds. So we ended up, even though that's still plenty of time, it's still a lot of time, it was in the back of my mind. No, none of that is an excuse to play poorly because everyone had to deal with those same exact conditions. So, not trying to make that like I had every reason to play badly. But things did happen. It didn't go as well as I hoped. And I'm going to go over it, even though it's really embarrassing, and I don't want to go over it. But because I made mistakes that I make over the board, not on the over the board. I made mistakes that I make like in rapid games, like when I'm not really paying attention or when I'm like tilting. So anyway, by the way, my daughter went 2-2. I was super proud of her. I also went 2-2. I was less super proud of myself. But here we go. Okay, so it was me. I was still technically 874, even though my quick rating had gone up. And now it's back down. Versus Tristan Ma, who was 1092. We had the white pieces, and the game went as follows. I got to play an Italian game, which I'm comfortable with. He played c5 first, which is interesting. But it just transposed into the normal game. When I played here, he played d4, d5, and I was already really distracted and uncomfortable with the situation, and I couldn't remember what my move was. And I don't know why I couldn't remember it. But what I thought was, okay, worst case scenario, he takes, I take, and then either he comes out and takes again and I take here, or I get to take this pawn and like ruin his kingside structure, and you know, like I was just like, whatever. Now, obviously, the move is this. I know this. I've studied it a million times, and I've been in this position a bunch. There is a situation where you either don't move this pawn, don't move this, or you take this, but this is neither of those situations. So this is a situation where I just go here. This continues to hang. Once this moves, then I go here. And now this has to move, right? And I didn't do that. I just didn't do any of it. So yeah. So I took. He took. Obviously, this is not good for me. I took again. He had to move. I brought out my bishop to basically force his queen to move. Then I took. At this point, I figured, you know what? I don't like all this shit pointing at my king. If I just take, and he takes and I trade off, and we trade off, like, I lose a pawn, basically, but I gain a pawn. So we basically end up even, and I just didn't care. No, I went like this, obviously, because I didn't want to trap my king, or trap my rook. I would have loved to castle instead, but he threw in this check, which is obviously a fork. And I did not want to go here and have him take like this and then go like this and then, you know, be in a war situation. So I figured, okay, we're going to trade queens, right? So I went here and just traded queens. He was really smart and gave this check, which forces me to respond. And then we trade queens, right? Then I don't get to castle. He then takes this pawn, and for some reason I thought it would be a good idea to do this. And now my thinking here was, okay, if he wants to take, if he does anything besides threaten this, I can bring this rook here, and then bring this rook here, and then go like this, and it's surprise checkmate, right? Obviously, that's kind of dumb. That's like really dumb. But you know, that's where we were. That's where we were at the time. So you know, like what am I supposed to do? Anyway, he did take, and I didn't even follow my own plan. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go after this pawn. Fuck it. Or after this thing, which is dumb because then it's obviously gonna force him to go back, which I didn't want him to do. So here I gave a check because it forces him. I was hoping it would force him to move. Of course, it didn't force him to move because he can block. And then I had to move my bishop. He then castled long, which was not what I wanted to happen. And I was kind of trapped. I was kind of unhappy. This forced me to come here. This forced me to block. This move was threatening to pin my bishop, so I had to move out of the way. Now he gives a discovered check. I had to come down here. I come over here, and you can see though I'm behind. This isn't a lost game, but it's not a good game, right? I am a clean pawn down in a bishop rook endgame. Still, all is not lost. He brings his rook here, and I thought, okay, he can't really go anywhere with that, right? This is pretty protected. Now, I expected him at any point to come like this, like right if he just came here and went like that. And obviously we can do something like this, but he can give us checks, which is kind of nasty, but this is still protected. Like, we're still in pretty good shape no matter how you look at it. Either way, I decided I want to take the g-file, and here I thought, okay, here's my plan. I'm going to try and get the g-file. I'm going to try and get down to g7. And then I'm going to double my rooks. I'm going to try and take and get my other rook down. Because if I can get my rooks here, and this is what I thought. If I can get my rooks here, I can draw. I have a guaranteed draw, right? I can check, 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 check. And then I looked and I was like, wait a second. It's not a guaranteed draw. This is covered by the bishop. But still, it doesn't change the plan that this is something that I want to do. Right? I want to get my rook here. If I do get my rook here, he's probably going to move his pawn because he doesn't want to lose it. Then I can move my rook here. I can bring my other rook into the game. Right? If I have both rooks here, I can start taking these pawns. I can threaten these things for real. I can, move one pawn around. I can start moving my king up. I can do all kinds of things that he can no longer do because now his king cannot play, right? And I'm sitting here like his king also has to keep guarding all these pawns, or he has to move them all because I just take them, right? So this is my plan. He makes this really smart move. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't think about this. Not because I didn't think that he wouldn't try to block. Of course I expected him to try and block. But I didn't think of the downsides, which were, if I were to take, right, he gets to fix his pawn structure. And now he has a beautiful 4-on-3 versus a beautiful 2-on-2. 4-on-2 and 2-on-2. And these are way better than these, and these are way better than these. And this just feels like a losing endgame. And I thought, you know what? Fuck it. We can both play that game. This isn't really a fork because, it's not defended. As soon as he moves out of the way, I get this. If he wants to correct my pawns, at least I will have a better structure on this side, and I can start maneuvering things over to the queen side. Well, this is technically the king side, right? I can start maneuvering everything over to the king side in order to then try to get a pawn promoted over here. So I was like, okay, I have a plan. It might not be a great plan. I might not be in a great position, but I have a plan. He comes over here, which I'm really not sure what that intention was for. I didn't quite get it. I think he was worried that I was gonna try and win a rook this way or something. I have no idea. To be honest, I have no clue what this move did. It guards the G8 square, but it feels very weakening. So I bring my rook to the E file because I'm like, okay, even though I wanted to go to the G file, this is now an open file, right? I can go like this. If he trades, that still fixes my pawns, and I can come up here, right? And now I win a pawn, and then if I win this pawn, I can make my way to winning one of these pawns, and then suddenly we're in a game again, right? So still had a lot of feeling good. At this point, he just gives up the G file. And I was like, okay, done. We're in. And at this point, I'm starting to feel really hopeful. I'm thinking, okay, we got it. The time is running. And obviously, he does exactly what I thought he was going to do, which is this. And I bring my rook over. He goes back. He's afraid, I guess, I'm going to, sack a rook for a bishop, sack the exchange so that I can get a check. I don't know why he thought I would do that. But I just go over here, right? So I can take this pawn at any point, but really I'm trying to get my pawns to the G file, or to the 7th rank, I should say. He brings his bishop over here, just defending this pawn. Again, he has all the wrong ideas about what I'm trying to do. Once I get here, his eyes kind of opened and he realized what I was doing. He pushed this, and I checked, and this is not the best move. When this is here, apparently I have a very, very good move, which is bishop f4. Right. This is such a move for the for the reason of I'm not sure. It was something along the lines of like when I check here, this can be solidified, and I have the ability to like basically like force a rook win, which I don't really know how that works entirely. I guess if I check here, he's got to go somewhere, and then I can check, and if he goes this way, then I can come back and I win the rook. Like, I get it. I get that there's ways to do it. So I just didn't see that far ahead. I didn't see very much when I was playing these games, so I'm not going to pretend that like I knew what I was doing. And the thing is, here I just completely zoned out on my plan earlier, which I said, 4 moves ago when I took the file, that, hey, I have a draw. If I get my rooks to the file, I can go check, 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 check. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, I can't, because he can just take this. Fast forward to the moment where we get there, and I'm like, check. He moves, and I'm like, oh, check. Draw. Which is the exact thing that I just said I couldn't do. So he takes, and I can't even take back, because then I lose both rooks for a bishop. I took this pawn, which was the wrong pawn to take. Like, at this point, I could take this pawn at least and try to scoop up. But not that we're in a good place, but like this pawn now allows him to check, which he does. I come up here. He goes over and threatens my bishop. I felt like bringing my bishop back was like an exercise in futility, because he's just going to go like this, and this is just going to be a weird situation. Also, it's only a matter of time before he just comes down here and starts checking. I don't know. So I went forward, which is the worst thing to do. I shouldn't have done that. I should have gone bishop b6 up here. And then maybe locked it in, I guess, is what it wants me to do. Right? And just like really trap the king in. But nope, I went like this. He checks. I go this way because I don't want to lose my bishop. He checks here. I go this way because I don't want to lose my bishop. And then he checks there. At this point, I realize I'm losing my bishop. I just take this. He checks. I move up. And then he mates me. And it was a pretty ugly game. I was pretty frustrated. I can't believe I hung a rook just like that in an over-the-board tournament. Again, I gave all these reasons for why I did it. The other reason was I went on a terrible losing streak the day before, and I had tilted myself, and instead of stopping, I just played for 8 hours of tilting. And I went like 22 and 12 or something, and it was really bad. I shouldn't have done it. But I did. So I deserved this. All of it was completely deserved, and this is what happens. But anyway, that was game 1. Thanks for watching, and yeah, game 2 coming up in a minute.